All right, what if I told you the next luxury boom in Florida wasn't happening in Miami, it wasn't happening in Palm Beach, it wasn't happening in Naples, but it was happening right here in Volusia County. Actually is happening right here in Daytona Beach shores, and the biggest proof of that is that Aston Martin just committed to building an 18-story oceanfront residential tower on our coastline. Think about it, one of the most prestigious brands in the world, a brand that could easily have chosen Miami, Dubai, or Tokyo, but instead planted their flag right here in Volusia County. And they didn't just do it by accident, they did it because Daytona Beach Shores is transforming faster than most people realize. Prices are climbing, redevelopment is accelerating, and the luxury buyer pool is shifting north. So before the rest of the state figures out what's happening, and if you think it's just another luxury condo, think again. This project is about to change the entire trajectory of the Volusia County shoreline. We're talking ultra luxury residence, private resort amenities, Gulf Stream tier, architecture, ocean to river views, and a price point that signals one thing. Aston Martin sees Daytona Beach shores as the next emerging luxury market. And honestly, they might be right. Today, I'm breaking down everything buyers, investors, and locals need to know. We're going to talk about floor plans, site plans, projected pricing, timeline, and exactly what this means for the future beachside living here in Volusia County. And because I'm filming in real life today, I'm also grabbing lunch with my buddy Barry, who's 69, retired from Wisconsin, and has a very strong opinions about Daytona, some of which might actually surprise you. Let's get into it. Hey there, if you're new to the channel, you want to learn everything there is to know about living in the Smyrna Beach and surrounding areas like Daytona Beach Shores, or Daytona Beach, or Ormond Beach, or Ponce Inlet, or Port Orange, or Edgewater, or New Smyrna Beach, of course, you've come to the right place. My name is Matt Ekoff. I'm joined by my beautiful wife, Rachel Ekoff, and we're here to share everything from the best neighborhoods to the hottest spots around town. Listen, I get phone calls, emails, text messages, Zoom invites every day for people just like you wanting to move to the beach. So whether that be 2 days, 20 days, or 200 days, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to help you move to the beach. Please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you get all the updates and notifications about New Smyrna Beach and surrounding areas. Now today, again, we're talking about Aston Martin. So I'm going to break this up into sections. So let's talk about section 1, what actually is being built and why this matters. So Aston Martin has officially announced an 18-story oceanfront residence in Daytona Beach Shores, and it's actually a huge deal for our coastline. Okay, it's going to have 86 total residences, ultra luxury penthouses, an oceanfront location, rooftop amenities, views of the ocean and the intracoastal Halifax River, Aston Martin interior design team, and a completion expected date in 2029. All right, this will be one of the highest end developments ever brought to Volusia County, and a place Daytona Beach Shores on the map for luxury buyers who previously only looked in Miami, Naples, Sarasota, and Palm Beach. Let me tell you why this matters. Aston Martin doesn't choose random markets. Their present signals long-term appreciation potential, a shift towards ultra-luxury demand, high net worth migration, and redevelopment momentum along the coast. So let's get into section number 2, which is why Aston Martin chose Daytona Beach Shores. So I'm going to give you some of my personal opinions, but I'm going to give you some exact quotes from Aston Martin about Daytona Beach Shores. The first one, an emerging luxury market. The second quote, a rising star for affluent coastal living. Quote number 3, perfectly positioned between ocean culture and motorsport heritage. That's impressive, especially coming from a brand like Aston Martin. They also went on to mention things like Daytona Beach Shores offers larger lots and quieter beaches than Daytona proper, and has a strong second home and retirement market. The proximity to Ponce Inlet and New Smyrna Beach in Orlando. There's a major redevelopment wave post-hurricanes, and the increasing land value along South Atlantic Avenue and South Peninsula Avenue just have them super excited. So I see this as well. The condos in Daytona Beach are really nice as it is. The lots are oversized. There are still a lot of houses on Atlantic Avenue and tons on Peninsula Avenue that have huge oversized lots, waterfront homes, a lot of redevelopment happening there. And in between, where the beach side is not nearly as wide as some areas in Ormond Beach or some areas in New Smyrna Beach, the proximity to the ocean from your house, if you're even in the middle, not on oceanfront or waterfront at all, is really an attractive feature. And again, the oversized lots, plus the amenities that come with Daytona Beach Shores. I mean, Daytona Beach Shores, you have access to a free public golf course, you have access to tennis and pickleball facilities that are nice. These are not crappy places. These are really nice places. So I think what Aston Martin is seeing, what I've been seeing for a while and I've been talking about, that this coast is changing, and it's changing fast. Buyers are leaving Miami and looking for something that's more affordable, less congestion, has real beachfront value without the huge crowds. Which brings us into section number 3, which is location. Now, I'm going to jump on site on location and kind of show you the property and show you the waterfront. The official address, and it is purchased, the land was purchased for $4,500,000 from Valor Development, which is out of Tampa. The actual address is 3411 South Atlantic Avenue, Daytona Beach Shores, Florida. I'll say it again just in case you want to look it up on your map or do Google Earth so you can see its location, proximity to everything. 3411 South Atlantic Avenue, Daytona Beach Shores, Florida. Okay, so this tower will sit directly on the sand just north of the Sunglow Pier area and minutes from Ponce Inlet, Dunlawton Bridge, Port Orange shops and restaurants, New Smyrna Beach's shopping district like Flagler Avenue and Canal Street, and it's one of the last premier oceanfront parcels capable of supporting an 18-story tower. This thing is going to be awesome. Let's jump on location and check it out real quick. All right, we are on the site of the new Aston Martin residence. This is a huge space. It's a little bit over an acre. We have 260 feet of frontage in Daytona Beach Shores. Now, where are we in Daytona Beach Shores? We are very, very, very close to Ponce Inlet. In fact, the Dunlawton Bridge is right behind me. Probably, you guys know how I like to say yards. It's probably 200 yards away from me in the west direction, and then literally on the other side is Ponce Inlet. So you have Ponce Inlet right there. As soon as you go over Dunlawton Bridge, you got Port Orange. You have New Smyrna Beach, North Beach, which is about 25 minutes away, Flagler Avenue, Canal Street, all that stuff. And then you have Daytona Beach proper, which is down another probably 10 minutes down in this direction. So let's talk about the timelines on everything. So we are in November 2025. This was just approved October 2025, so the public announcement was made last month, so just a month ago. 2026 has the site plan approval and the permitting, so they'll expect this coming up next year. They'll start on that process. And then late 2026 to 2027, they're going to be groundbreaking this big area and filling in, of course, and doing some stuff to the seawall. They'll be doing vertical construction starting in early 2027, and that will last until 2029. And in the early part of 2029, they're expecting the completion and they'll start filling the occupancies. So I think that Aston Martin is probably going to end up developing earlier than they expected because they're working with some really good partners on this. And obviously the development and everything like that costs money, and the less time it takes them, then the more money they're going to pocket. So I really feel like Aston Martin has been really good with their previous projects, and that the time frame is hopefully it's going to be at max 2029 to fill these units. But wanted to come out here to the space to show you how the beautiful ocean here and just a wonderful location, again, right next to the Dunlawton Bridge. All right, so section 4 is where we're going to talk about the design and what we know so far. So Aston Martin tends to follow signature design language. So some of the expected features are going to be floor-to-ceiling ocean views, private elevator entrances, Italian cabinetry in stone, high-end automation, resort-level amenities, Aston Martin concierge services, oceanfront pool deck, fitness and wellness center, wine lounge, and owner's club space. Now, this is based off research that I've done and people that I've spoken to that have inside info on this. Some of the things that I think that they're going to mirror, that's expected that they're going to mirror from Miami, is expect them to showcase things like wide terraces, glass balcony rails, curved aerodynamic architecture, ultra premium finishes, a statement lobby with Aston Martin automotive design cues. Now I'll tell you something real fast about Aston Martin. This is all personal, nothing real estate whatsoever. I think it's the sexiest car in the world. Like I do. I think it's the sexiest car. In fact, I owned an Aston Martin, a DB9. It was the last model that they made in their old factory before they started sharing a factory with Jaguar. It was a V12, 660 horsepower. It was a beast. And I tell you what, if I was on a runway with a private jet and we were both going 60 miles an hour, I could probably beat it in a quarter-mile race because as a V12, that thing could get up and go. But I'm a big guy, 6'2" and about 205 pounds, and big guys are not meant for Aston Martin. So after about 6 to 8 months of having that thing, and it was, again, I think the sexiest car in the world, I had to get rid of it, and I have the BMW that I have now, which I love BMW, but BMW is a little bit more, my M8 is a little bit more appropriate for a bigger guy like me. So nevertheless, this is part of the reason I wanted to jump on this story as soon as possible. I mean, the news just broke last month, but who doesn't think that Aston Martin is just classy and luxury? So let's get into section 5, which is the pricing expectations. Now, full transparency here, Aston Martin has not released any pricing expectations, but based on research, and again, based on people that I've spoken to, and based on market conditions here, we're going to make some guesstimations. Okay. So if we analyze the Miami project, the units run anywhere between $1.5 million to $50 million, but this is Miami. Local Daytona Beach Shores luxury comps around $700,000 to $2.5 million, which are oceanfront units. We have to think about new construction premiums. And then we have to think about the brand uplift, which is easily going to bring a 30 to 70% increase in irregular value because of the Aston Martin brand. Here's how we can project the estimated price ranges to run. I'm going to say that the lower level residents are probably going to run about $1.2 to $1.6 million. The mid tower oceanfront is going to run from about 1.7 to 2.4 million. The upper floors are probably going to run about 2.5 million to 3.5 million. And this is a stretch, but I think it's true. I think the penthouses are going to run probably 5 to 8 million, maybe even plus for the penthouse units, which would immediately make it the most expensive residential tower ever built in Volusia County. All right, so let's get into our next section. Let's talk about the timeline and the milestones. Now, I brought this up while I was out in the field on site, but we're in November 2025 right now. Last month, October 2025, is when they made the public announcement. Our 2026 is for permitting and site plan approval. Late 2026 and early 2027 is when they're going to start breaking ground. They'll build from 2027 to probably early 2029, and 2029 is the expected completion and the occupancy. In past Aston Martin projects, they've tended to deliver early and even sometimes before schedule. They also have a really strong development team behind them, or I would expect early to mid 2029 for completion. All right, so section 7, let's talk about what this means for our local market. Here's the big takeaway in my opinion. Aston Martin choosing Daytona Beach Shores confirms what locals already know, that this is becoming a luxury coastline. We're definitely gonna have an appreciation for oceanfront condos. We're gonna have a surge in luxury buyer interest. We're gonna have more redevelopment along Atlantic Avenue and Peninsula Avenue. We're gonna have higher standards for future projects and stronger national and international attention. Now, the locals are probably not going to like that, but let me tell you something that most locals won't tell you. Most of them aren't even local. Most of them are transplants. Most of them are like, oh, I've been here for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, but not a lot of them have been here for that long, for their whole lives. Most of them haven't grown up here their whole life. Now, are there some? Absolutely there are. I have a client, I have her property listed for sale. Christina has grown up here and lived here her entire life, and she's probably in her late 40s, early 50s right now. I have a very close friend of mine, Susan Bauer, that is probably in her younger 60s, that I just helped her daughter buy a house. And Susan and her husband were high school sweethearts here in New Smyrna Beach. So there are still some, but there's not a lot. Most of them are transplants. So this is probably going to piss a lot of people off for me saying this, but I know that the stronger national and international attention is going to probably frustrate and upset the locals. But you know what, it is what it is. All areas develop. If you're not growing, you're dying. So I see it as a great opportunity, and who doesn't want Aston Martin attached to your name? So this type of project pulls in a plethora of people. It brings in international investors. It brings in retirees that are leaving Miami. It brings in affluent East Coast snowbirds, car and motor enthusiasts for sure, because it's so close to Daytona 500 International Speedway, and high net worth relocation clients, which is good for me because I'm in the real estate market. So if you're one of those people, I would love to talk to you and give you more details about the Aston Martin residence or any other residence in New Smyrna Beach or Daytona Beach, Ponce Inlet, Port Orange, or Ormond Beach, or Edgewater. Let me say this last thing before I end this section. For locals who bought early, you are sitting on a gold mine right now. Part 8 of this part is my take as a local real estate agent. So this project elevates our entire region, specifically not including Daytona Beach Shores, because obviously Ormond Beach, some parts of Daytona Beach, probably the south part of Daytona Beach, Ponce Inlet for sure, and New Smyrna Beach, because these are really the higher end luxury oceanfront cities here. Edgewater, kind of, but not so much because it's more mainland. There is some areas on Riverside Drive. Daytona Beach in the middle, very touristy, so probably not so much. Port Orange is mainland, so they're not going to really be affected by that so much. So look, we've already seen rising land values, record-setting sales in Ponce Inlet and New Smyrna Beach, a redevelopment of older buildings and the redevelopment of older homes. I talk about it all the time. I'm involved in it with the builders and the developers all the time. which results in luxury buyers calling in earlier and earlier every year. So when a brand like Aston Martin flies its flag here, other luxury developers are going to follow very soon after. And if you want to be in the loop about more details to come about the Aston Martin Tower, price releases, reservation timelines, floor plans, and incentives, reach out anytime. You can call me, email, text me, or set up a Zoom invite. We can jump on a 15-minute to 30-minute Zoom call. All right, so I'm here with my really good friend, Barry. Barry and I play tennis with each other, and it seemed appropriate. Barry lives in Daytona Beach Shores, and he lives actually right down the street where the Aston Martin residence is going to be happening. So figured I'd give him a call and get over here and have some lunch with him and drive down on his golf cart. So that's what we're doing today. So Barry, I wanted to ask you, tell me some of the things that you love about Daytona Beach Shores, or living in Daytona Beach Shores.
Well, we just kind of happened to fall into a place here, a condo right on the beach, which we still have and we rent, but we bought a house a block away from the beach. And so I've said the beach a couple of times, I think, here. And so that was kind of one of the big parts of it, was being at the water. And, it's a drive-on beach, and the ramp is a half a block from our house to come on. So that's what we did with the golf cart today. And so just being able to spend time on the beach. I don't even spend a lot of time in the water, although a bit here and there, but it's just kind of, it's beach time. And, we're in a beach bar, which, that's really my favorite part of being at the beach, is being in the beach bar.
Yeah.
I just found it to be close to a lot of other stuff, but Daytona Beach Shores itself is really pretty small. And in fact, where my house is, I'm 4 houses away from being in Daytona Beach Shores, but I'm also a block from the beach. So Daytona Beach Shores is this tiny little city that is kind of drawn strangely.
Now, most people don't even know about.
That is correct.
In fact, I'd say probably 99% of the country don't know that Daytona Beach Shores is an actual city itself versus Daytona Beach.
Well, one reason we're here is because this is where my wife wanted to be when we retired. And she, in the 80s, she came here on spring break from college. And she was staying at the place where we actually own a condo now. But she's coming in, and she would thought, so on this long bus ride from Wisconsin, she's going to Daytona Beach. And then she's getting here, and it's like, wait a minute, this is Daytona Beach Shores. What's that? She didn't know.
Yeah.
She was so disappointed that she was not in Daytona Beach. Well, it turned out that Daytona Beach Shores is pretty much the Daytona Beach. And,
except the quieter section.
It is quieter for sure.
And your house is great. I mean, I walking up on, taking the steps up to your front door, I turned and looked to see where Rachel was, and you can see the ocean from your house. I mean, You are literally a half a block to the beach, and then we just drove right on and drove the golf cart down here, and here we are, at this great restaurant. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, you're kind of our go-to guy when we have tennis down here, because we play against Daytona Beach Shores, and although you're a Daytona Beach Shores resident, you play for New Smyrna Beach tennis team. So you're always the go-to guy, Barry. Hey, where should we go for lunch after a victory? Because we don't lose at New Smyrna Beach Tennis Center, so it's always a win. And
last night, notwithstanding,
that's true. You had to bring that up. Those are recent.
But neither one of us were playing. We were just watching.
That's true. We were just spectators. So maybe if we would have gone like where, there have been different. So let me ask you: are there anything that you would have changed different now that you've moved here? You moved into the Hawaiian, right? And then you went from, after there was some renovation stuff that needed to be done there, you rented the house, which is how you found the house in the first place. But looking back in hindsight, is there anything that you would have done differently moving here, or did it work perfectly?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I would have done things differently based on what I know now. So, for example, you just mentioned that we play a lot of tennis, and I play tennis at the New Smyrna Beach Tennis Center. That's almost a 30-minute drive from my house. There are beautiful tennis courts in Daytona Beach Shores that are 3 minutes from my house. But I've met people in New Smyrna Beach, including you, and now I have 60 or 70 people that I know I can play tennis with there. And so I make that drive 5 times a week. If I was to do it over, would I try to meet people at Daytona Beach Shores tennis 3 minutes from the house? Maybe. But then
you could jump on your golf cart, take South Peninsula
easy
down to the courts.
It's incredibly simple to get there, and they're super nice courts. And if you're a resident, they are free. And so I pay money.
And so is the golf course.
I drive. That's right. And so I pay money and I drive and I do all this stuff to go play in New Smyrna Beach. But would I change it? Probably not. I mean, and maybe I'll start playing a little bit more at Daytona Beach Shores courts. But that's but I don't have to, so I can, and it's just another option.
But I don't think if you had told anybody at New Smyrna Beach, Tennessee, that you lived at Daytona Beach Shores, they wouldn't even know, because you're there so often playing with us. You're in our monthly lunch group, like we're doing stuff when Charlie got hurt, you're one of the guys at Charlie's house, like, you're over there a lot. So,
I am over there a lot.
So the one thing you would have changed in is you would have become friends with
either Daytona Beach Shores or be closer to New Smyrna Beach, but then I wouldn't be at Daytona Beach Shores. And so, that's why I struggle with would I change anything? Probably not. I have a lot of good things in my life now.
So I want to pivot for a second, because we're a very truthful channel. In fact, some of our videos that are the most popular videos are reasons why not to live here, traffic issues, flooding zones, So can you tell me anything negative about living in Daytona Beach Shores, or something that you don't like about this, or you wish would maybe change? Or
Well, so I know this will be shocking to people, but hurricanes can actually come here.
That's crazy. Crazy.
They're crazy, yes. And so our condo on the beach we were hit by 2 hurricanes in 2022, 6 weeks apart, and we had a lot of damage. And now it's totally recovered, but it cost us some money to get recovered and all of that kind of thing. Now we just finished hurricane season 2025. Nothing happened.
First time in 11 years that we haven't had a single hurricane.
All the hurricanes that were coming maybe towards us turned and went out into the middle of the Atlantic. And every time it's like, well, that's a plus. And so there have been 3 major, like what that means, category 4, category 5, 3 major hurricanes that made landfall in Daytona Beach in 150 years. You might check my stats on that, but that's what I looked up a couple of years ago. That when we got hit in 2022, that was the 3rd time in 150 years. And so, yeah, can it happen? But it doesn't happen that often. And a lot of the hurricanes that happen here are pretty mild.
You have noticed.
It's hurricane party time,
Yeah.
And so, that is something you just need to be aware of. And my house now that is it's a half a block away from the beach.
And you're super elevated.
And elevated. So we're not going to get floods.
Yeah.
But you still need to have flood insurance. Because if it's a hurricane and you have water damage of any kind, whether there was you think of a flood as like your house is flooded, doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
It could just be water coming through your windows during a storm. They will call that flood damage. If you don't have flood insurance, could be trouble. Flood insurance isn't terribly expensive, so that's a plus.
Yeah, in New Smyrna, it's about $600 to $1,200 a year.
Yeah. And so, but you kind of have to have it.
Yeah.
And that's in our condo. Our condo's on the 3rd floor of this building, and we did not have flood insurance on the condo. That's why it cost us a lot of money to repair the damage, because it said this is all flood. And it's like, but it did not flood.
Yeah, but the thing is, if the rain is coming in from an angle or something like that, and it gets in, people don't think about that. They're just like you said, they're thinking flood meaning the water coming up, but it's any, if you have roof damage, or a limb falls on the roof and then you get water in from that. I mean, there's a plethora of, things that can happen.
Yeah, that was it. So, when I think of negative things around here, there's just not very many of them. I was telling you off camera how I lived in Florida years ago and really had a hard time making friends when I lived here for a couple years. That has not been the case.
Yeah, here. Tell me where you live.
Lived in Boca. Lived in Boca and left there after 2 years and basically did not leave any friends behind in 2 years of living there. And I lived here now 3 or 4 years. And yeah, this is, I have more friends here than I have anywhere else in the world right now. So it's awesome.
Yeah. So it's definitely a community feel. What do you think about, we've only talked about this just for a second, but we did talk about it. What do you think about the Aston Martin coming here? I mean, it's supposed to be like Miami and like Tokyo. I mean, it's like, why pick Daytona Beach Shores out of all the places? What are your thoughts?
Well, I didn't know what to think. In fact, I was kind of baffled. Was it the car company or was it, who was this actually? But no, I saw what they were planning to build, and it kind of blows me away that Daytona Beach Shores is a place where they're choosing to invest that kind of money.
But you got to love it because appreciation values are going to go through the roof.
That's going to be good for all of us.
Yeah, everybody that's here, it's going to their values are going to go skyrocket. And I honestly don't think that most people even know about it yet. I mean, it was just announced in November, and it was a very soft announcement. So
I thought so too. Yeah. I heard about it, and I did a little bit of research, but it was not all over the place at all. Well, it probably will be when it's a done deal.
And once the permits are pulled and it becomes, a county record, I mean, then people are going to go crazy over it. So, Well, look, I appreciate you getting on camera. I don't want to take a lot of time because our videos are only a certain length, but this was an impromptu thing. I'll tell the audience real quick that I was on the phone. Rachel and I are getting ready. I've already done all the research on Aston Martin and the building, and I know it's in Daytona Beach Shores, and I know Barry's here from Wisconsin, retired here from Wisconsin to come to Daytona Beach Shores. So I called up and I'm like, hey, you want to grab some lunch? And he's like, yeah, that's great. I hang up the phone and Rachel's like, what are you doing? Are we filming? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put Barry on film. She's like, well, you didn't tell him. I'm like, I know, because I wanted to show up and he won't be able to say no once I'm here with the camera. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Yeah, that's it. I get phone calls, emails, and text messages every day from people just like you. So whether it be 2 days, 20 days, or 200 days, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to help you move to the beach. Please make sure that the like button and subscribe so you get all the updates and notifications about New Smyrna Beach and surrounding areas. Thanks so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.